So Fallout 76's PC beta began yesterday, and what we found was a game with, well, some issues to say the least. In this video, what I kind of want to do is talk about my brief experience in Fallout 76. I did do a stream yesterday. I will be doing more in the future if you guys want to subscribe and check those out, but also go over some of the problems with this PC version of the game, and a lot of these probably aren't going to be obvious to you. Of course, everyone knows the deleting of the files, and I'll touch on that, but there's a lot more going on here that even if you did get into the game, you noticed there were some problems. So right off the bat, in the launcher itself, before you even got in game, there is a number of issues with Fallout 76. There's a countdown in the launcher saying the game would open at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. That was incorrect. The game was actually supposed to open at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Bethesda released some kind of explanation about this, saying that when somebody was setting this timer, they actually set the wrong time zone, so it was set to Mountain Time instead of Eastern Time, hence the time discrepancy. The odd thing being though, even though they released a statement on that, it never was changed in the launcher. So admittedly, yeah, I don't actually know how difficult it is to change a timer in a launcher, but I have to imagine it's fairly easy. And even beyond that, even if you couldn't change it, it seems like it would have made a lot more sense to just delete it entirely rather than have it give the wrong information to probably tens of thousands of people. But then after all that, when it actually did reach 0, what we found was trying to launch the game, at this point 2 hours early, so it just attempted to unlock the game, deleted all of the beta files. So the beta was roughly 47 gigabytes and numerous people lost all 47 gigabytes. Now as to why this occurred, I don't know. Bethesda released a tweet as this was happening saying don't click any buttons in the launcher, which I think is honestly hilarious. But again, it's probably just some kind of unfortunate event, some sequence of events that went wrong. Maybe Bethesda could have predicted it, maybe they couldn't have predicted it, but I don't think focusing on that should be a priority of many of us going forward. It's like one of those things that just really sucks, but I don't think it's going to actually change anything. I don't think Fallout 76 is coming to Steam as a result of this. A lot of people were focusing on Bethesda.net's launcher as the main issue here. And at the end of the day, I think it's just one of those things that really sucks. It sucks for Bethesda, it sucks for us trying to play the game, and it sucks for the people particularly that have very slow internet or even internet caps that just use 50 gigabytes downloading this game and now can't freely use another 50 gigabytes to do it again. Bethesda has come out and said that they will be extending the beta time this Thursday in response to the lost time from today. But as I kind of mentioned before, I don't think the deletion of those files should really be the focus here, because those of us who got into the PC beta, even if it was only a few, realized how many issues this has. And unfortunately, a lot of these aren't like beta issues, things that were just left unfinished or maybe left untouched. It seems like features of the game, things that were kind of intended to be there. So right off the bat, if you're watching my stream yesterday, you'll notice that I couldn't get the game to run smoothly. I had tons of FPS issues and tons of stutters. In the end, what the issue ended up being was that Fallout 76 by default launches into a windowed borderless mode, and while in that windowed borderless mode, the game for whatever reason has a ton of issues for, I saw, hundreds of people. If you simply switch it into full screen mode, a lot of those issues will be resolved, but that's not an obvious fix to most people. And at the end of the day, whatever, that's just some glitch, I'm sure it'll get sorted out, except it's not just some glitch. This exact same problem was in Fallout 4. If you're a PC user that does want decent FPS on Fallout 4, you probably had to go online and read some guide how to play the game in borderless. It's not as simple as setting it to borderless in the menu. You have to normally configure a bunch of INI files or do some stuff in NVIDIA settings. And just all in all, the fact that this issue got carried over from Fallout 4 to Fallout 76, I think is pretty bad. It's something that should have been addressed and should have been fixed. There's no reason that people on very good computers are getting abysmal FPS simply because the game's in borderless mode. Outside of that, I also had a ton of issues with getting the game to save my settings. Like I would change the graphical options, trying to actually get it to play at ultra and full screen once I realized what the problem was, or even at 1440p, and it wouldn't save. I would restart the game over and over again. I tried editing INI files, nothing worked in this regard. And in probably one of the most ironic moments of my entire night last night, what actually got this setting to save is a crash. By this point, I had spent 45 minutes trying all kinds of different things, and I went to change a shadow setting, like whatever the quality of the shadows in the game crashed. And following that crash, all of my settings were saved. Suddenly, it was exactly how I wanted it to be. So yeah, that was fun. But again, I don't think focusing on all of that is necessarily the main concern. Those things can be fixed and very well will be fixed by the time the game does launch. They might not be, but hopefully they'll be. Unfortunately, once you actually got in game and had the right FPS and were playing at full screen, there is a plethora of other issues with this feeling like it was just a game meant for Xbox One that was haphazardly ported over to PC in like the last week or two. I don't actually know if that's true, but there's fundamental features missing. Right after I got into this game, I was in the vault trying to create my character and I heard talking, and I had been streaming at the time, so I was talking to my stream chat. All of a sudden, some guy starts talking back to me, and I'm like, wait, you could hear me? So in Fallout 76, there's no easy way to toggle chat on or off. Your options are either have it so when you talk into your microphone, everyone can hear you all of the time, or alternatively, you could turn it off altogether so nobody can hear you none of the time and you can't hear anybody else. There's no middle ground. There's no button to push so your mic becomes open and on. This seems insane to me in a 2018 game. Like, this is one of those things that doesn't feel like, oh, a feature that was missing in a beta. It just seems like something they weren't gonna add. I'm sure they will now because of the backlash they're getting, but that's pretty crazy. Another one that just boggles my mind is they changed the control scheme. So in Fallout 76, the only thing that's really different is the addition of those emojis that you can show. Outside of that, everything in Fallout 4 is largely back in this game and works in pretty much the same way. Yet they remapped a bunch of the keys by default. So the key to go into third person, the key to open VATS, pretty fundamental aspects of the game were all modified. This isn't a huge issue. Again, you could change these in the settings tab, but just like, why? Why would you do that? So I want to mostly bring this rant on the PC beta to an end. There's a ton more I didn't talk about, FOV, not being able to hotkey between 1 and 9, but I think I talked about the negative features enough. There's just one other one I do want to bring up. So in Fallout 4, a lot of you guys might remember that the engine was tied to your FPS. So if you unlocked your FPS in Fallout 4 and it was like, let's say 100, all of a sudden things would start moving faster. You would run faster, you would open stuff faster. It's a very well-known complaint in that game, and it was the topic of a lot of controversy. Well, it's still here in Fallout 76, and even more crazy, it works the same way. So I'm going to bring attention to this because it's a beta and hopefully it'll get attached. But if you figure out the way to unlock your FPS in Fallout 76 on the online server, you will run faster. Apparently you'll also reload faster. It's like having built-in cheats on your game. The only way you do it is by manually unlocking your FPS. But even beyond that, certain people accidentally had their FPS unlocked. It seemed to be like another glitch with the game just on startup. Somebody in my party actually didn't have a locked FPS. They were getting above 60 FPS, so they were getting bonuses. We couldn't figure out how he was running so much faster than all of us, but it's because his FPS was higher. So it allowed him to physically move faster in game than the rest of us, even though we were all running in a group. And just another one that's kind of funny that I encountered, I somehow, while scrapping weapons or something, deleted my Pip-Boy. Like, there was literally an empty spot on my arm as to where it was supposed to go. I don't really know how I did it. I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to get it back without creating a new character. If I go into power armor, I can use the Pip-Boy again, but otherwise just running around, when I hit the Pip-Boy key, it would say your Pip-Boy isn't currently available. That's a pretty big bug, and it's kind of a funny one. Outside of that, actually getting the game on PC, playing with a bunch of other people is a blast. It definitely looks better. There are without a doubt visual improvements on this version compared to the Xbox One X version. And if we somehow ignore the plethora of bugs, glitches, and missing features, it seems like it is going to be just as fun as it was on Xbox One, except slightly better because you're using a keyboard and mouse and are at 60 FPS. Another thing that a lot of you guys just overall should be really excited for about the PC beta opening is you're going to get access to a ton of information. I'm going to have videos coming on this over the next day or two. Basically, people can data mine stuff from this game. So right now, you can know every single weapon in this game, every single mutation, every single perk. All of that information should be popping up very shortly, and you should keep an eye on some of the major forums, and of course, I'll be making videos on it. I've never been one to be like, oh, the beta is pointless, or the beta is not giving them enough time to fix some of these issues, but after what I saw yesterday with the PC beta, I kind of feel that sentiment. I genuinely do wonder if Bethesda will be able to have the PC version of this game in a suitable state for the average player by the time it releases just 2 weeks from now. If you guys remember back to Fallout 4, they did fix certain things, but it doesn't seem like they actually learned from their mistakes. Several of the issues with that previous game are still here, and even with Fallout 4, there was issues on launch with like changing your key bindings and things along that line. And as of right now, where we stand, it really doesn't feel like Bethesda has kind of grown from that or really did improve in that regard. And all in all, my ultimate conclusions on this fairly ranty video is Fallout 76 on PC needs significant improvement. It seems like Bethesda truly developed this game for Xbox One, and it's showing in really a bad way for PC users. A lot of people right now, again, are unhappy. Go read any forums and you'll see that. And it seems like some of those same issues are kind of being echoed around here also, that Bethesda isn't doing a good job at communicating. People want to see more information coming from them. They did tell us that they were working on the issue and what not to do and what to do. But at least as of right now, it seems like there's a lot of issues, a lot of stuff I didn't talk about on PC, and hopefully it all gets fixed. I mean, in the end, that's what we all want, right? Either way, it's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. I'm going to give you guys today's psychology fun fact of the day, and that's going to be on a bunch of stuff I can't tell you, so I'm not actually going to do it. But I figure I'll highlight this fact to you instead. There's some cool stuff I'm learning in psychology that is, let's say, violent in certain ways, or even just to do with gender that I can't put on this channel. I've actually noticed on some of my psychology fun facts on videos over the past week or two, they got less views, I'm thinking, as a result of the particular topic I talked about. I'm sure some of you guys who watch those videos can figure out what it is. So yeah, today, instead of a psych fun fact, you get a YouTube fun fact, and it's not necessarily the best one. Either way, as always, again, I thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope to see you all next time, and hopefully you'll watch me stream successfully this time more Fallout 76.